welcome to my channel. In this video I will be using the Butterfly palette, a beautiful release from Claropsyche Cosmetics, not only to create this eye look but as blush on the face. And if you'd like to see how I achieve this, keep watching. So in order for us to be able to just jump right into the eyes, the star of the look, I have done my brows and primed my face off camera. But if you would like to see a more in-depth view at how I achieve that, it will be linked somewhere here. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. So the first thing that I'm taking, since we are working with really pastel shadows, we do want to make sure that we have a focus on our pigment. So the first thing I'm using is this NYX eyeshadow pencil in the color Milk. So I will be just going directly on the eye and holding the sides gently and just applying that color down. Doesn't need to be neat, can be quite messy just as long as you are covering the lid. All right, and once you have that, whether you're using the Milk pencil or any just white creamy eyeshadow base, or even white concealer if that's what you prefer, once you do have it down, just take your fingers and pat that out to just kind of smooth it out. And in the process, you might lose some of it, so you can always go back in and add more, like you will see me doing in just a moment. And if you'd like to, because having the white all over your eye in areas where you didn't intend to put it is a bit distracting, you can always clean it up. I like to just take a little baby wipe, and before I actually jump into the shadow, go ahead and clean up around those edges. All right, so once you have cleaned up and you've got your white shadow applied to your liking all over the lid, you want to set it. You could set it with a white eyeshadow if you have a perfectly true white shadow. But what I like to do is just set it with setting powder. So I will be using my go-to setting powder always, this Airspun Original Loose Face Powder formula. It's the translucent one. I believe they do have some colored ones. And I will be putting it on a Real Technique sponge that is dry and that I use strictly for powder. All right, so we are ready to go. And just to reiterate, the reason it is so important to start out with a white base for any pigmented or colorful shadow is that, think about it like drawing. You get the most out of your color pencil or the most beautiful color when it's going on a white piece of paper. If you use any other color, it's gonna distract or take away from that color. So, of course, with me having brown eyelids, I like to start with white. But even if you have a lighter complexion and your skin is more of a cream or beige color, it's still really beneficial to start out with a white base. So the first thing I will be doing is, of course, just selecting the brush I would like to use in my crease, because that's how we're gonna get this going. And for me, I think I'm gonna take this brush from the e.l.f. Mint Milk collection. Super cute that we've got brushes that match the color look we're going for today. And I am gonna start out with the color Ochre, this soft brown at the top. And I'm just going to use that as a transition shade just to get rid of the whiteness on the outer edges. So just applying my brush in there, tapping off the excess, and going into the crease. And I will be using my super cute, beautiful compact mirror from Kimchi Chic Cosmetics. And on complexions lighter than me, ochre would come up more brown or as a deeper shade. But as you can see, for me, it is very close to my skin tone. So we're not seeing it a lot there, but I actually love that. It makes the perfect transition shade for me. And once that's applied to my liking, you see we've got less of an aggressive white color on our lid. We've canceled that out. So now moving on to the color that is the star of the show, I'm going to be taking this all over shadow brush, but I will be taking Faye, the mint green color in the palette that is going to be the star of the show, which, by the way, I absolutely love the name Faye. I'm into everything fairy. So I am getting it, coating the brush in it, because I am going to go all over the lid with it, but still, as always, tapping off the excess. That just prevents some of the fallout when we apply it actually on the eye. And just building it up all over the lid. And as you see right away, with just a few gentle swipes, we're already getting a really pretty color. If I had put this without that white base, impossible. All right, and as always, even when you tap off the excess, you are going to get a little bit of fallout that goes under your eyes, but don't be discouraged. It's something that we can always clean up. And then just to help clean up a little bit of the edges here, I'm going to take that same brush that I had ochre on, and without adding any more product, just using what's on there, I'll just go around the edges to soften it up a bit. All right. Now, if the palette had a darker green, I would want to create a little bit of a subtle gradient effect, but since there isn't a lighter, or rather a darker green, there is a trick that I am going to use today to create a little differentiation of color. So there's this color Bone in the palette, which is not a true plain white, it's more of a cream color, but it's very pretty. I think it would be lovely to use just to lighten up any shadow, but I'm going to be applying it strictly on the inner corners, just so that in the center I have a lighter green than I do on the outside. And for that, I'm just going to take it on my finger. I believe I'll get the best application that way. So just to compare and contrast what we've got here quickly, this is just the eye that had Faye applied all over. And this is the eye where I have started to just layer some of Bone in the center. So this color is more of a pastel mint green than this one, which is what I really want. So I'm going to, I think, apply it all over the lid. All right, and naturally, you know, the white or the cream color Bone kind of diffused outwards. So I am gonna go back in with that same brush that I used to just apply Faye all over the lid and deepen the edges so that we're kind of getting, we're letting the color pop on the inner corner and having more of our true mint green on the outside. And then once I am happy with the lightness I've created on the inner corner versus the outer edges, I'm gonna again take that brush that now has kind of a mixture of Faye and ochre from all the blending and just soften those edges out again and get the shadow where I want it. And then at this point, I'm pretty much just gonna have fun with it and add more Faye and more Bone as I'd like. And you should always do that. You might be happy with just where it's at or decide to add more color to it. So this is just the point of the shadow look where just kind of make tweaks and adjustments. All right, and at this point I am happy with the shadow. Of course, we've got some areas on the outside where we kind of colored outside the lines, but that will get cleaned up during the base process using concealer under the eyes. So I am going to go ahead and take care of doing my base, base encompassing foundation, concealer under the eyes and in my high points, as well as my bronzer and contour. I will speed through the base just for the sake of showing you what I did to achieve that. And then once I'm all done with that, we will pop back in with this palette and use some of these pinky, red, orange kind of tones in here as our blush. So let's get into the base and jump back in with it. All right, so at this point, I am all done applying my base as well as some highlight. And again, if you do want to see a more in-depth talk-through version of that, click up here and I have a video that shows you that. But we will be moving back into using our claropsyche palette. There are quite a few pretty colors in here that would make a beautiful blush. And so first I'm going to be going in with Femme or Femme, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right at all. And then I am going to smile and apply this all the way from the apples of my cheeks up into the upper cheekbone where I had applied, you know, the highlight. All right, and that worked beautifully at creating a really nice, more on the natural side, kind of sweet flush to the cheeks. So I think I will really use that color as a blush more often. But I am a blush person. I am big on blush. So I do definitely want to get into that gorgeous shade Fire at the top. And because I know this is a much darker, more pigmented color, I really am only going to focus this on my actual apples of my cheeks and not drag it all the way up to the you know, highlight area like I did previously. That looks stunning. That made a beautiful blush, but I do always want to add some blush on my nose as well, so I'm gonna dust a little there too. And just because some of the highlight was lost when we put the blush on the nose, I'm going to take that Suva Beauty shadow in the color Turmeric that I used as a highlight and put a little dab of that back on the tip of my nose. I'm just using my fingers to diffuse some of that color. And I'm really happy with how those shadows, Fire and Femme, work together to create a really beautiful blush combo. So then I am just going to set everything once more using the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. And now for the finishing touch that I feel always draws the look together, just gonna go ahead with mascara, and I'm using a duo. I'm using both the They're Real mascara by Benefit, which is my favorite, and then also the Mega Length by Wet n Wild. Okay, and after putting on literally a cajillion coats of mascara until I'm happy with that, I will be going in with the NYX Wonder Pencil on my waterline just to bring a little pop and more attention to these beautiful mint green eyes we have today. And then using Mega Length, again, since this one has a tinier brush on it, I'm gonna apply some mascara to the bottom lashes for a little doll look. And my apologies if I don't show this that well on camera, because it's a bit hard to do. But I'll try. And to finish off this look, of course, got to do the lips. I will be using the lip liner I pretty much always use, which is the NYX lip liner in the color dark brown, since that complements the actual color of, you know, the lining of my lips. And then I will be going over it with this beautiful gloss. It is the I really want to get the lettering visible, but I don't know if I can because it's so shiny. But it is the Sailor Moon lip gloss from ColourPop in the color Moon Tiara. So I will be applying that over it. Can you tell I love Sailor Moon? And going in with this beautiful gloss here. And that is our look. Very beautiful, very in love with the claropsyche butterfly palette. I was so excited to get it as soon as I saw like the promotional stuff for it. I mean, look how pretty this is. This is like literally my aesthetic in a palette. So I was so happy to be able to use it both for eyeshadow and blush. So as always, thank you so much for tuning in to see this look come to be, and you have a wonderful day.